Have you ever walked through your front door after a long day? And before your dog does anything else? Before the tail wagging? Before the excited greeting? Before following you around the house? They stretch? Their front legs slide forward. Their chest lowers toward the floor. Their back legs stay upright. And for a moment, they hold that position while looking at you with soft, relaxed eyes. Most people see this and think absolutely nothing of it. They assume their dog is simply loosening up after a nap. Just a physical stretch. Just a random movement. Just something dogs do. But what if that assumption is wrong? What if that stretch isn't just a stretch? What if it's actually one of the clearest emotional messages your dog can send without making a sound? Because according to canine behavior experts, the stretch many dogs perform when they see their owner is very different from an ordinary wake-up stretch. And understanding that difference can completely change the way you see your relationship with your dog. In fact, later in this video, we'll also look at a similar looking stretch that can signal something much more serious. A stretch that doesn't communicate trust at all, but possible discomfort or distress. And knowing the difference could be incredibly important. But first, let's talk about the stretch most owners see every day and completely misunderstand. When a dog wakes up from a nap, the stretch is usually simple, quick, mechanical, almost automatic. The dog extends its body, loosens stiff muscles, and then moves on. There's very little emotion attached to it. Very little communication. It's simply the body preparing itself to move again. Humans do the same thing. You sit for too long. You stand up. You stretch. And then you continue with your day. Nothing unusual. Nothing particularly meaningful. But the stretch many dogs perform when they see their owner arrive home is different. Very different. Instead of being quick, it's slow. Instead of being automatic, it appears deliberate. Instead of immediately moving on, the dog often pauses. Its front legs extend forward. Its chest lowers toward the floor. Its rear remains elevated. The tail stays relaxed. The muscles appear soft. And perhaps most importantly, the dog often looks directly at its owner. Not with excitement. Not with tension. But with soft eyes. Relaxed eyes. Comfortable eyes. And that detail changes everything. Because this stretch isn't simply happening after sleep. It's happening because you appeared. Your presence triggered it. The moment you walked through the door, the behavior appeared. And that raises an important question. Why? Why would the sight of a specific person cause a dog to perform a specific stretch? The answer may have less to do with muscles, and far more to do with emotion. Think about how animals behave when they're nervous. Their muscles become tight. Their bodies become tense. They prepare themselves to react, to protect themselves, to stay alert. Tension is a natural part of uncertainty. But the greeting stretch communicates the opposite. The body lengthens. The muscles relax. The chest lowers. The posture softens. The dog opens itself up. And in canine body language, that matters. Because relaxed muscles communicate something powerful. They communicate safety. The greeting stretch is often considered one of the clearest signs that a dog feels comfortable in the moment. Comfortable enough to relax completely. Comfortable enough to lower its guard. Comfortable enough to expose vulnerable areas of its body. In other words, the stretch may be saying something very simple. I feel safe. Not because the house is safe. Not because the room is safe. But because you are there. And that's where the science becomes fascinating. Researchers have long studied the bond between dogs and humans. And one of the most interesting discoveries involves a hormone called oxytocin. Oxytocin is often called the bonding hormone. It's associated with social connection, attachment, trust, and emotional closeness. The same hormone involved in the bond between mothers and their babies. Studies have shown that when dogs reunite with their owners after being separated, oxytocin levels can increase. Even simple eye contact between a dog and its owner appears to strengthen this bond. The dog looks at the owner. The owner looks at the dog. And this emotional feedback loop becomes stronger. Again and again. Over time. What makes this important is that the greeting stretch often occurs during exactly this type of reunion. The owner arrives home. Eye contact happens. The dog relaxes. The dog stretches. The emotional bond is activated. And what you're witnessing may not simply be a physical movement. It may be a visible expression of emotional security. A moment where trust becomes visible. A moment where a feeling becomes a behavior. And if that wasn't remarkable enough, there's another discovery that makes these reunions even more emotional. In 2022, researchers reported something that surprised dog lovers around the world. They found evidence suggesting that dogs may produce more tears during reunions with their owners. Not because of irritation. Not because of injury. But as part of an emotional response. Think about that for a moment. 4 years. Most people believed tears belonged almost exclusively to humans when it came to emotional expression. But this research suggested something unexpected. That emotional reunions may affect dogs more deeply than many people realize. Now think back to that greeting stretch. The soft eyes. The calm body. The relaxed posture. The emotional reunion. Suddenly that moment may look very different. Because what appears simple on the surface may actually be a complex emotional experience happening inside the dog's mind and body. And yet, there is another behavior that often confuses owners. Because at first glance, it looks almost identical. Many people mistake the greeting stretch for something known as a play bow. And that's understandable. Both involve the front legs lowering. Both involve the rear remaining elevated. Both can appear very similar. But their purpose is completely different. A play bow is energetic, fast, bouncy, excited. The dog's body language says, "Let's do something. Let's play. Come on." Everything about the movement contains energy. The eyes are alert. The body is active. The posture invites interaction. The greeting stretch communicates something else entirely. It's slower, calmer, more deliberate. The eyes are softer. The body is more relaxed. The emotion is different. Instead of saying, "Let's play," the greeting stretch seems closer to saying, "I see you. I'm glad you're here." And that's a very important distinction. Because one behavior communicates excitement. The other communicates trust. And many owners never realize the difference. Something else interesting can happen over time. Dogs learn. They observe. They pay attention to what gets a response. And some dogs discover that their greeting stretch makes their owner smile. Talk to them. Pet them. Show affection. As a result, the stretch can become more noticeable. Longer. More dramatic. Almost like a performance. Not because the dog is manipulating anyone, but because communication is working. The dog performs a behavior. The owner responds positively. The bond strengthens. And the behavior becomes more meaningful. In many ways, the stretch becomes part of the relationship itself. A small ritual shared between dog and owner. A moment both recognize. A moment both enjoy. What's even more fascinating is that this behavior may be far older than our homes. Far older than modern pet ownership. Far older than civilization itself. Because the roots of this behavior appear to stretch deep into canine history. Wild canids such as wolves and wild dogs often stretch together after periods of rest. On the surface, this helps prepare muscles for movement. But it also serves a social purpose. A communication purpose. A signal to other members of the group. A signal that says, "We're together. We're safe. There is no threat." That social meaning appears to have survived through thousands of years of evolution. Modern dogs may live in homes, sleep on couches, and wait at front doors. But many of their social signals remain remarkably similar. Which means that when your dog stretches as you arrive home, part of that behavior may be connected to a very old message. A message rooted in togetherness. A message rooted in belonging. A message rooted in connection. Perhaps nowhere is this more touching than with rescue dogs. Many rescue dogs arrive carrying fear, uncertainty, and caution. They don't immediately trust people. They don't immediately relax. Sometimes weeks pass. Sometimes months. Before they truly begin to feel safe. And then one day, something changes. The owner comes home. The dog approaches. and performs that slow greeting stretch. To many people, it may look insignificant. But for a rescue dog, it can represent something enormous. Trust, acceptance, security, a willingness to let down defenses, a willingness to believe that this person is safe. That moment isn't just a stretch. It's a milestone, a quiet sign that the relationship has grown stronger. But now we need to discuss something important. Because not every stretch communicates trust. Not every stretch communicates comfort. And this is where owners need to pay attention. There is another posture that can look surprisingly similar. Yet its meaning is completely different. It's often called the prayer position. And unlike the greeting stretch, it can be associated with discomfort. The body appears more rigid. The muscles look tense. The chest remains low. But the softness is gone. The eyes are different. The relaxation is missing. And the behavior often repeats. Again. And again. And again. Sometimes without any obvious trigger at all. Unlike the greeting stretch, which appears when you arrive home, this posture may occur at any time. The dog may hold it longer, repeat it more frequently, or show additional signs that something isn't right. Some dogs may also experience symptoms such as vomiting, loss of appetite, pacing, or a hard, uncomfortable abdomen. And when these signs appear together, the situation should never be ignored. Because early veterinary attention can be extremely important. The key difference is simple. Greeting stretch. Soft. Relaxed. Brief. Trust-filled. Prayer position. Rigid. Tense. Repeated. Potentially uncomfortable. Knowing that difference matters. So the next time you walk through your front door, pay attention. Not just to the wagging tail. Not just to the excitement. But to the stretch. The slow movement. The relaxed muscles. The soft eyes. The moment of calm that happens the instant your dog sees you. Because what looks like an ordinary stretch may actually be something much more meaningful. It may be your dog's way of saying, I feel safe. I trust you. I'm glad you're home. And perhaps that's why this behavior feels so special. Because without speaking a single word, without making a single sound, your dog may be expressing one of the deepest emotions it knows. Trust, connection, belonging, love. And every day, right there at the front door, you get to see it happen.